I'm super excited to be bringing you an interview that I got to have with Natalie from Apex Anatolians. We discussed a little bit about that Anatolian Shepherd breed and their temperaments and houses that they'll fit well in. They're a breed that is used and was used to guard livestock. So she has lots of great information. She also mentions a number of really good resources, which I will include as links associated with this video. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me or to her, and her contact information will be in the notes associated with this video as well. I hope you all enjoy it. So you have Anatolians, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How long have you had them?
I started in 2010 with 3/4 strength Anatolians because that's all anyone would sell to me.
Okay.
As a early 20s first generation farmer, they're like, no. I've had AKC registered Anatolians for just over 3 years now. I have a decent sized pack that I've accumulated in those 3 years. So yeah, but officially 3 years. But I've been working very close to it for like 12.
Okay. Do you use them to actually guard livestock then?
Yep, they do. Yeah. Yeah, we're in Montana, so we have all the things that would ever want to eat a chicken or a goat here to eat my chickens and everything else. So yeah, that's why we got them in the first place. So that's why we still have them today. I probably have more dogs than I actually need because I breed them, but don't tell my husband I said that.
Okay. With being a breeder of them, what are some things health-wise that people should be asking their breeder about before jumping in and getting an Anatolian?
Sure. So I'm actually on the health committee for the club. So the only 2 tests that we have right now required through CHIC, which is through OFA, is hip and elbow dysplasia testing. So that's done just through x-rays. Not every breeder does them. Not every breeder who claims to health test does them. Some breeders will tell you that the club only requires hips because that's the only requirement listed in the code of ethics. But that's also not accurate. So if anybody has any questions about what to ask a breeder, there's some decent information on the club's website, which is just asdca.club. And you can always reach out and contact the club on the contact form there if you have any questions or concerns about a breeder. There's also approved breeders list with the club. So if somebody's serious, but they don't want to buy 3 dogs to get 1 good dog, that's a good place to start too. But it also doesn't mean that everyone on that list is equitable or doing the same things. So you always just have to kind of check your math and make sure that the breeder you're talking to is actually doing what you think they're doing. So.
Is there anything else that somebody should be asking a breeder before getting a puppy from them other than about health testing with those hip and elbow x-rays?
Yeah, so the breed is has a reputation, I guess, of being kind of wandery. Like they'll jump a 6-foot fence if they're of a mind to. They're also, which I mean happens, but it's not like a breed trait like people think it is. But what is a breed trait is they are very independent, and they also have like this deep-seated sense of like fairness and justice. So if you're in any way inconsistent or unfair with them, that can be problematic. But as long as you understand, like you read about the breed and you understand what it is and you think you're okay with it, I feel that temperament testing of puppies in that 7th week before allowing any picks to be made, if the breeder lets you pick, I prefer to not have a pick. I let the breeder pick. Because they know the puppies and you don't. So you're kind of picking blind just based on very limited information where they see that puppy 15 times a day for months. So they know what they're working with, and they know they can hopefully look at your application or your survey or whatever, or your conversation interview and match you the right puppy
Okay.
that will not ruin your life
Yep.
potentially. So I think that's the big thing. And also just a breeder you can get along with,
Hmm.
because ideally you're going to send them update photos and you're going to talk to them when you have issues instead of going to a Facebook group,
Okay.
ideally.
Yep.
So a breeder who's down for that and actually offers that as part of their puppy purchase is
Okay.
really good to look for, because not all of them do.
Yep. How do they do around small children? If somebody thinks they would like one, but they're either planning on having kids or they already have some small children, do they do fairly well with that, or does it take a lot of effort?
So I actually had LGDs before I had kids. My kids were born here on the property with guardian dogs like barking outside like something is wrong with mom. So like, the dogs, I think with children, as long as there's a human adult who's a responsible and logical adult involved, they can be great. These dogs, I mean, they're made to be calm and collected around like baby goats and sheep, jumping on them
Okay.
while they sleep. They're relatively, I hate to say bomb proof, but they're pretty close.
Okay.
However, they should not be ridden like a dog.
Yep.
You should not have a child like shoving things or taking things out of their mouths,
Yep.
pulling on tails, like that kind of stuff. Like you don't want to test their good nature. So,
Yeah.
which children are want to do.
Right. With
So
basic supervision.
yeah, exactly. As long as there's a responsible human person around,
Mhm.
it can be great, because and they love kids. They understand that kids are just really weird looking sheep. So
Okay.
they make sudden movements and weird noises, and they stand funny, but nobody's perfect. So
Okay.
I think they understand that children are vulnerable and need protection just like all the other livestock, and they
Okay.
do really good with that. But yeah, they, like any dog, they have teeth.
Yep. Yep.
So
For
supervise.
sure. For sure. For sure. Basic supervision is always recommended, but
Yeah,
there are some breeds
for
that
sure.
are a little more tolerant than others. So
Yeah,
yeah.
way more tolerant than like a terrier or something,
Yep.
right? Like, I mean,
Yep.
they have a much longer, wick to burn before something bad happens, but you just don't want to push it anyway.
Yeah. How much exercise do they need kind of average a day?
So, technically, I don't know, because I've never actually exercised any of
Okay.
mine. We
Because
have
they're all
acreage kind of penned off in like 2 to 4 acre sections.
okay.
They will typically do like, a lap, they'll go pee on stuff, they'll go bark if there's intrusions. If you have like a suburban, like a backyard, yeah, they're gonna need they're gonna need something from you more than just like letting them out to pee and coming back in the house.
Okay.
Some people do that with like a treadmill.
Okay.
The biggest thing with these guys is they're growing through like 2.5 years old, so you don't want to do forced exercise with them.
Yep.
When they're young and growing, especially, it's just not good for their joints and long-term health. But yeah, I mean, I would say they want, like, if I had a pet one that was in the house with me, I'd probably walk it like 3 miles a day or so,
Okay.
just to get some energy out. Really, they need mental stimulation, I think, more than physical. My dogs
Okay.
usually are just like, especially in daytime, they're
Mhm.
asleep on a hill somewhere, like with one eye creaked open,
Mhm.
looking over everything. They're not high energy and they're
Okay.
not really demanding. But if they get mentally bored where they have nothing to do, they will destroy your house and everything you
Okay.
love. So
Yep.
I'll give them a job. Even if they're a house dog, they can still have a job.
Okay.
So yeah, they definitely need a purpose in life, or they will find their own, and it's never
Okay.
going to be something you like.
Yep.
Not in a
Yep.
suburban setting.
For sure. Do you think that they're easy to train, or does it take them a long time to learn something new?
So no, so it's like 1 to 3 repetitions will do ya.
Okay.
What it comes down to is if they actually give a crap about what you think.
Okay.
Which sounds weird, but if you don't spend time with them, like especially people with working dogs who are like,
Yep.
they're out there, I'm in here, If you don't go out and spend time with them and bond with them, they kind of autopilot their life away. And if
Okay.
you call them, their recall is going to be garbage because they're like, yeah, I'm busy. I'll get
Okay.
to you next Tuesday. I'll
Okay.
pencil you in. Whereas I go outside and I call one name and 3 dogs come because they're like, oh, it's mom. Maybe she has something good. Not
Yep.
usually, but God bless them for trying. So and like if I call their names, they come. And if they
Okay.
don't come the first time, I'm going to them. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, she's
Yep.
mad.
Okay.
But they actually care that I'm
Yep.
mad. Whereas if my husband calls them and they don't come, they're like, yeah, nice try, buddy.
Okay.
And if he goes out there, he's like, why did you come to me? They're just like, they'll flip him
Yep.
off and just run away. So it really does depend on like you get out of your relationship with your Anatolian, what you put into it.
Okay.
And that what you put into it is not a food budget or a toy budget. It's attention and time and bonding.
Okay. Okay.
So, but I think they're actually really easy to train.
Okay.
They just like, as long as you establish clear expectations for them and you consistently enforce those their whole life from when you bring them home, like the day you bring them home to the day they die, as long as they understand where they sit with you, they're really easy.
Okay.
It's people who are inconsistent or people who change like with their moods, how strict they're going to be with their dog.
Yep.
They tend to have a lot of problems. I don't think just with Anatolians, but with
Yeah.
especially with Anatolians, because they will call you on your stuff and kind of annoy you with your own accountability.
Yep. For sure. For sure. As far as grooming goes, do they need a lot of maintenance with that? Do they kind of take care of themselves?
Yeah. So if you leave them to their own devices and they're outside dogs, they'll go like rub on trees and fences.
Okay.
Which I used to think was really cool until they started rubbing on certain trees that get sap like all over them. So now I blow them out with a cattle blower.
Okay.
In the spring. I've never I sold a puppy to a groomer and did some trade with her to get everybody like a nice spring bath and blow out, and they all looked gorgeous. It was great. Do they need it? No. Unless you have a dog with a skin condition or other like medical stuff going on, like a hot spot or something like that, that obviously needs attention. But if they don't have a medical need for a bath, they don't need a bath. You can give it to them. It's not going to hurt them, but it's not going to have some like outstanding benefit to their daily life. Like like a poodle needs a bath and a blowout and a trim and everything else. They're pretty easy. They do shed. So if you have them inside, you're just going to have like 4 really good vacuums.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
And then since there are stock guardian dogs, do they do well with other small critters like cats and pocket pets, that kind of thing?
Usually, yes. There are some exceptions where if the dog is not raised around cats specifically, cats are technically other predators. And they move and they act like predators. So if you have a dog who's never seen a cat in his puppyhood, and then he's like a year or 2 old, and he sees a cat and he does not like the way the cat is being suspicious and moving like a cat. That can cause some initial like lizard brain reactions that if you don't nip that in the bud like really quickly and be like, oh, actually cats are friends, not enemies. Thanks though. It can build into something that you don't want. But as far as like pocket pets, like rabbits or chickens or guinea pigs, they make weird sudden movements and fun noises for puppies, but if you have an adult, he shouldn't really care. Puppies, you just have to reinforce that we're still around them and we don't bother them regardless of what noises or emotions they make. And that again, it should be like 1 or 2 sessions and you're done. They just know like, okay, I don't touch them. Again, supervision though is a good idea.
For sure.
No, they
don't leave them
shouldn't be like
they're a lot bigger.
Trying to get your house pets or anything like that.
Do they get along well with other dogs? Other than the ones
well with their dogs. So I feel like Americans were like, our dogs should be friends with all dogs.
Yep.
We take them to the dog park and we want to introduce them to all these other dogs, and that could work. The Anatolian is not the breed for you,
Okay.
if that's your goal in life.
Okay.
You can, as long as you have proper introduction, especially if it's a puppy you're bringing in to the
Yep.
home, good to go. If you're bringing in random adult dogs that your friends are bringing to your house for poker night or something like that, you're gonna have to put your Anatolian up in a crate, which I don't think is fair. Or you're gonna have to have your friends understand that you have boundaries now that you have a very strong and very particular dog. But that's situational. But I don't recommend them for like going around the neighborhood and making friends. They should have a different reaction off your property than in your home or on your property, because they're, it's not their job, not their prob when they're at the park or the vet. Ideally you train that into them, but no, like other dogs coming over for play dates is a non-starter. And dog daycare, that kind of stuff is it can work in like very rare instances, but I don't think it's not or what they really want to be doing either. Like they want to be home and making sure everything's okay. They don't want to be out and about making friends.
How do they do with human strangers coming in and visiting?
Yeah, so it's hit and miss depending on the dog and also the person. I have introduction protocols, so I'll have key phrases and words that I'll use that mean different things to my dogs. For example, like if I invited you over and I walked you out into the pasture with me, they'd be fine because I'm with you. But if I said, say hi, be nice, they would come up to you and let you pet them, and they would just be like dogs. If I said some other words, they would just stand between you and me and growl and make you get out of the pen. They wouldn't bite you. They're not attack dogs. Everyone thinks they're like vicious and sees these YouTube videos of fighting and they're like, ooh, no, that's men with confidence issues doing that stuff. Their job though is to be a deterrent to threats. So if I cue them into the fact that you may be a threat, not a friend, they're gonna body block between us, like stand sideways, and they're gonna look at you like they want to eat you, and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna leave now, because that's the appropriate response.
Right.
But no, if they're properly introduced and also supervised by their person, they should be fine. But if someone else is coming to your home, especially someone who is either scared of big dogs, which a lot of people are, and some people don't even realize it, but if they were like bit on the head by a dog when they were 4, all dogs can be scary. And they don't even know that they have that baggage until they get to your house and start crying, and your dog is like, yeah, that person's suspicious. you know
they're acting strangely.
They're like, that's weird. That's a weird reaction to me. So I do recommend that people who have them as pets keep them, have a containment plan. You don't have to be a hermit and not have any friends or have no one ever come over, but you need a plan for just to plan ahead and just put the dog up with a Kong or something. Or if something does go, so I always have a safe place to put them in, which is like not a wire crate. Like you want to get like a aluminum legit crate that he can't just break out of. Because these dogs, if they think that you're in trouble in the living room and you just go lock them in a bathroom or lock them in your bedroom, they can eat through that door in like 20 seconds or something. If they think you're actually in danger, like they will too. And people are like, oh, that stupid dog. I'm like, stupid owner. Like, this dog's smart. The dog is problem solving, just creating other problems as they go. So I think the human just has to take the responsibility to not put people or their dog in danger. And if that means they need to have people over to play poker at the house, they need to put the dog up in a safe way that everyone is safe. But they can be fine, especially with regular people that are always coming over that you introduce as puppies. As long as you establish like, this is Steve, he comes over every Thursday and cuts the lawn, or whatever, they can totally accept that and be fine with it as long as you tell them this is fine. it's just, different people handle it different ways. And you definitely see that on Facebook groups.
Yep, for sure.
Questions being asked.
What is your favorite thing about Anatolians?
Ooh, I like that they are also very independent, where when I had boxers growing up, if we went on a vacation as a family, and were pampered to hell while we were gone, by the way. But when we got back, they were like, I thought you died. I thought you were never coming back. Oh my God, I miss you so much. I'm going to pee on the floor. And then I ate some of your shoes. Sorry about that. And, they were very involved in our presence or absence in their daily lives. The Anatolians are kind of like frat boys from college, where it's like you come back and they're like, what's up? Did you bring me something? Like that, and that's it. They're not dramatic. Okay. They're not overly invested in my presence and constancy in their lives, which I think is nice if you don't need to be needed. If you need to be needed, this is not the breed for you, because they really live for themselves, not for you. But if you can align your interests, it's actually very great.
Okay. Yep.
But they're just very different than a lot of dogs. The way that they've been selected for is just different, but I love it. It's great for me. Not that I get to leave the farm, but I could theoretically take a vacation someday in the distant future.
Yeah.
Dream big, right?
Right. What is the most frustrating thing about this breed?
Ooh. So, I think the most frustrating thing about them is that there's, kind of like with any dog, there is a wide variety of both temperament and aptitude range. So when someone says like, oh, I have an Anatolian too, sometimes that means they have a pet rescue that was a reject from a farm and ended up in a pound and then got picked up by a breed specific rescue. Sometimes it means they have a German Shepherd cross that they've decided is a rare breed. But there's even the legit ones that are, from pedigreed lines. You can have a wide variety even in a litter. And when people don't understand and respect that, they just think that they're all the same. They're all tan, black masked dogs. They look the same. They must be the same. It's really frustrating to be able to explain that to people. And also manage them. So people who aren't very selective with where or how they acquire their dogs can create pretty big issues pretty fast. And when you have that in a 120 pound dog, it can escalate to bad places. And I think that's pretty frustrating for people, because they get a dog with expectations up here and they get a dog down here, and the disparity in the same breed, just because different people are breeding either not selectively or, it's just the luck of the draw sometimes.
Okay.
But the results are not as reliable as I think we'd all expect them to be in a purebred dog. And I think it just is because of it's technically like a land race. It's any shepherd's dog from Turkey or surrounding areas of around Turkey even. Those qualify to be an Anatolian Shepherd. So you can have a really hot, really sharp dog, and you can have one that rolls over and submissive pees. And they can be the same breed. And that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back to knowing your breeder and someone who knows their lines to know what you're getting. Because you can get something very different than what you're needing or looking for. And that can be really frustrating, not just for the people, but the people like me who get messages constantly trying to troubleshoot other people's dogs that are, not doing what they're supposed to be doing or what they were expected to do. And that's hard for everybody.
Right.
And I think it is worse probably in the Anatolians than it is in some other lots of other working breeds, just because of the nature of the breed.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a significant difference between like the ones that have been used for showing versus the ones that get used for guarding? Or they all kind of
so I actually went to the national specialty last year down in Oklahoma, and so I saw basically the main dogs being campaigned, and also the ones that were just brought in for a national, just to see people, basically, like it's like a social event. And with COVID, it was pretty small.
Yep.
Still, but I did get to see dogs. The people, like the breeder handler class.
Yep.
You can see pretty quickly what they're breeding for. So like the people who are breeding, like they just have a large ranch and they're just breeding for replacement dogs. And like, yeah, they want them to like look like an Anatolian, but everything else is kind of negotiable because they just need bodies in pens. You can tell that.
Okay.
You can tell who maybe shouldn't be breeding that dog because he tried to eat 4 other dogs.
Okay.
So you see stuff at a show that you're not going to see on a farm because everybody on the farm is an established pack and they know each other.
Yep.
So that was an interesting experience for me. But no, so I have both. I have dogs who I don't think have a show dog in their pedigree, not at least the last 8 generations.
Okay.
And I have dogs who like are a grand champion AKC show dog. Like I have both ends of the spectrum. The working ability and the temperament and the like the drive to go run off a wolf if it comes by is no different.
Okay.
I know that it's a concern and a lot of people in the club that show dog people are ruining the breed or pet people are ruining the breed.
Okay.
I don't think breeds are ruined by adhering to their breed standard. I do think that like selecting for color or over like hyper type dogs, which we are seeing in the breed, more jowly, more, huge size. I think that is a great way to affect a breed long term. But no, I don't think that the show dogs are any different. And most of the show dogs being shown as Anatolians have goats at home or sheep or whatever. And they're usually campaigned before they turn 2. Around 2 is when they tend to get that strong aversion to anything that's not as they had pictured it or wanted it, which makes showing difficult because they don't run that show. They have to do what they're told when they're told, the way they're told, which becomes not so fun anymore for most of them. Some of them, there are always exceptions, but I think the Anatolians, they basically show them when they're puppies and try to finish them, and then they'll bring them back for veterans class when they're old and tired at like 10 or 12. Know, there's not a whole lot of 7-year-old male dogs being shown in the Anatolian rings, and there's good reason for it, I think.
So middle-aged, they want to hang out at home with their sheep or goat friends.
Exactly. Yeah. They're gonna guard your trailer or your van, and you can't, God forbid you put them in an X pen at a show. I mean, they can jump a 6-foot fence. They can walk out of an X pen. So yeah, it's just like, they bark the whole show and annoy everyone in the building or in the park. It's just at some point it becomes not a good idea to just take them out on the town just for the sake of it. So I think that's why there's such a push for people to finish them early. Just get them off the AKC ring, because they're like, okay, we're on a time frame. Got to get them finished before they're like 15 months old, ideally, if it's a boy. So, and everybody has different goals. I would like to show, but at the end of the day, I have enough dogs too, where I can pull a dog or 3 off my clip here and be like totally covered if anything comes down the mountain, whereas other people don't have that luxury. If they have 1 or 2 or 3 dogs, if they take 1 dog out, it throws off the whole balance of the pack order, and it it messes up their whole setup. Is that worth it when you have a $500 pig sitting there that gets eaten because you wanted to go to a show? Probably not. So
that makes sense.
It's hard to like gauge what's reasonable, because
Mhm.
everyone has a different situation and different,
Right.
circumstances, different, risks at their property. So, I think that anybody with an Anatolian, ideally, you work them if they want to work. Not every
Mhm.
Anatolian wants to work stock, which I think is another big frustration in the breed. There are
Okay.
breeders who are like, I produce 100% working puppies. They go to 100% working farm homes. And I'm like, how have you cracked it? You're the
Yeah.
only working dog breeder in the world who produces 100% working quality animals. How did
Yeah.
you do it? And the truth is they just don't evaluate their puppies. Like they don't
Okay.
ask the puppy, do you like goats or do you like humans? They're
Yep.
just like, you're a goat dog, period. And the same.
Yep.
So yeah. So that's no, I think a goat dog can go show, and I think a show dog can go guard goats. I don't think there's any difference in the breed, and training matters. They're
Mhm.
not, you can't just go throw them out in a field and be like, I'll be back next Thursday with another bag of pedigree. You have to be involved in your puppies and raising them up
Yep.
the way you want them to be. But I mean, no, as long as they have the drive
Mhm.
to be with stock rather than people, they'll do great. It doesn't
Okay.
matter what they look like necessarily, but I
Okay.
do think that honestly joint health matters,
Mhm.
because if you're running up
For
and down
sure.
a mountain or through a pasture, if you're expected to go chase down a coyote or a bear and win, you
Mhm.
have to be in good condition physically, and you have to have good joints to back you up.
Yep.
You can't just live in pain. And they're very stoic, so you'll never know that they're in pain until it's way too late.
Yep.
So that's why I like x-rays.
Mhm.
Just to go
Definitely a
back.
good diagnostic
It is
tool for
important for
sure.
working dogs, not just show dogs. That's
Yep.
a big thing in our breed. They're like, oh, you don't have to x-ray hips unless they're a show dog. I'm
Oh.
like, it matters more for work.
Yeah, because they're doing things.
Like, what? So yeah, but no, it's a really fun breed if
Okay.
you're down for it, but
So
it takes
if
some self-awareness to be
yep.
like, no, hard pass, you know.
Yeah,
And
for
it's totally
sure.
fine. I respect I have friends who, own like Bernese mountain dogs,
Mhm.
and they're like, oh, I'd love to do a puppy trade, and I'm like, no thank you.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, no thanks.
Yep.
I'm good. I'm like, and you wouldn't want this dog anyway, trust me. Like, not after two. Like, maybe when they're a cute
Yep.
little fuzzy puppy, they're fun, but they're just different, and different
Mhm.
people should find their match of breed,
Yep, for
not just
sure.
get whatever their next door neighbor has, or stuff like that.
Don't just get it because it's cute and fluffy, because it's gonna get big.
Yes, big and fluffy maybe, but oh my gosh, really big. Like I have a 135-pound male out there that people think is 200 pounds when we go to town.
Mhm.
Like, you are way off. Like
Yeah.
I have a verified scale weight of him the last month. 135 is all. But they just look so big and intimidating that
Mhm.
if you can't be in control of them, you can't take them anywhere. So
Yeah.
like a vet when they're, cut open because they got a work injury. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be able to manage them. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody has kind of evaluated their situation, they think an Anatolian would be a great fit, how would they get a hold of you if they want to get a puppy from you?
Sure. So I have a website. It's just apexanatolians.com. You can see all my dogs. You can see all their health testing that comes up once they turn 2 and are able to do it. I post it publicly. I don't think that it should be a secret. And I have a puppy application link. I have a whole puppy page. It lists my prices so that you're not shocked. It lists
Mhm.
everything that I do for like how I whelp, down to puppy curriculum week to week, down to how I evaluate them. Like, I just give it all. I'm like, here's what I do. Take it or
Okay.
leave it. If you like it, great, contact me. If you don't like it, there's like 85 other Anatolian breeders
Yep.
that you can go to. And like, it's no skin off my back.
Yep.
I'm happy to refer people to nearer humans so they can go like see the dogs. I'm in the middle of Montana. No one lives near me, really.
Yeah.
So
Middle of North Dakota here, so also
hey,
not a whole lot near me.
Yeah, no, same thing. Yeah, it's hard, and I want to encourage people to go see their, the dogs if they can. So,
Mhm.
I'm happy to refer out to other breeders that I either know personally and trust, or I've been watching their lines for a while and I know that they health test. I know
Mhm.
that they're producing what they are aiming for, at least.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think dog breeding is like as glamorous as people think it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of poop.
Mhm.
But we do it because we love the dogs. And
Yep.
I don't really need a puppy sale from you. So if you
Mhm.
want to just contact me and be like, I'm in Florida, where do I go? I know 2 people I can refer you to,
Okay.
so
Yep.
I'm not a high pressure human. I'm just
Yep.
like, I like the dogs, if I have a litter, like I will place the puppies appropriately when the
Yep.
people show up. I'm not in a rush.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. So just Apex Anatolians. You
Okay.
can find us and see fun pictures. I think our last post was like CV like on the ground, like doing her weird thing. They just do weird things. And sometimes I get pictures of it. So it's very ladylike. She's like spread eagle upside down on the ground in the dirt. It's great. It's a
Yeah.
top quality. She's a top quality like show dog line dog. I'm sure her breeder loves that picture. So,
Mhm. They like to do strange things because they are still dogs. They don't.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. These ones, I mean, they really live for themselves. They're like, it would make me happy right now to roll down that hill. And they just go do it. And I'm just like, okay, like that was a choice you made. And they're
Yeah.
perfectly happy with their choices, they don't do anything they don't really want to do. So
Okay.
yeah, but they're cute. I've got one puppy that I kept back from our last litter, and she's running around out there with the big dogs, and she's learning, but she's
Mhm.
very cute. So she's worth the Instagram check-in all on her
Yep.
own, I think.
Well, that
Penny.
sounds great. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience with me about Anatolians. This has been kind of fun to learn a little bit more. They're one I'm less familiar with. So
They're weird. They're not as common.
yeah, I don't see a lot of them in the work that I do because most people in town rightly do not purchase one.
Goodness, right? Yeah, no, they're definitely more common like in like large animal practices. I feel like those vets
Mhm.
like know exactly what they are.
Yep.
And then you go to like a normal like small animal vet and they're like, is that a German Shepherd mix with a Great Dane, like a Labrador? Like what do we got here? What are we working with?
Yeah.
So it's always interesting.
Yep. I'm familiar enough with the breed to know what they are, but I haven't done a lot of training of them and hands-on with them to know a little bit
Did
more
you know that
about
they
them.
can come in any color but merle?
I did not know that.
Any. Yeah, so there's like white, there's like cream, there's brindle,
Hmm.
there's pinto, there's all kinds of marks, and there's like variations of the fawn. There's like red fawn and gray fawn.
I knew
So
about
much.
the different fawns, but I didn't know that they could come in white. Didn't know that.
Yeah, they can come in biscuit, which is like a off-white. It's like an ivory wedding dress rather than
Mhm.
a white wedding dress.
Yep.
And there's actually white ones, but they're pretty rare.
Hmm.
I really prefer to have the pigment around the mouth and the eyes just for medical reasons mostly.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I've got a couple patterned varieties, and I do have fawn dogs, and I do have a couple brindle dogs. So
Okay.
you can see some variety on my website if you want to go look
Sounds
at
great.
pictures.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.